Hello and welcome to the channel. I would like to share a very interesting milestone with you today. Um, and this is the publication of my first watch book, which is in association with the Finnish Watch and Jewelry Museum. And this is basically the history of this brand, the Montandon brand of watchmakers, in a nutshell. And this covers the entire history of the Montandon brand from the early 18th century until modern times. And so this is more or less an overview and introduction to this family of makers and how they are arranged and cohesed through the ages. Now, this is it very, and this is actually in correlation with an exhibition of almost 100 objects, which are in my collection and which are being presented at the Finnish Watch and Jewelry Museum. And this is on public display this October, will be on display for at least 6 months until March of 2026. Now, this book is the culmination of over 8 years of research. And when I began this project, it was very fascinating because I did approach publishers in Geneva who specialize on watch literature and watch history. And it was very interesting, the feedback that I received, because this brand really has been lost to history. And the research that I have done has unearthed a very interesting story of these makers. And some of the feedback that I originally got from one Geneva publisher was, well, you cannot write a book about this because these are different makers. And this is not a single house, as if this were to be a Rolex or Patek Philippe, etc. That is not the point. Actually, all of these makers do share a common history. They have a single common ancestor. They're all cousins, and they're very closely related. And indeed, the history does show and has vetted this theory that they are actually working very closely, very tightly, in a very tight-knit way, so that this cohesion has been documented. So the argument that this is not a single house of watch production makes no sense, because the objects that are appearing in watch auctions of today are by a varied assortment of small manufacturers. And when somebody acquires an heirloom, an object, they want to know who made it. And if your book only addresses one house of production, then you are not able to answer a very fundamental question. And indeed, this interrelationship of these makers is key to understanding who made the watch, what is the story behind this. And this is the fascinating element that we have here. And this group of watchmakers who were working very close at a certain stage in this development of the brand. This is the whole reason that we want to find out what the interrelationship is and how they related and who was who, etc. So if you have an old watch and it has the name of Montandon on it, and you want to know who was behind it, and in order to do that, you have to see the entire interrelationship, the whole history, who was who, and go from there. So this is actually, I believe that this work is actually quite significant, because this family played a very important role in the development of Swiss watchmaking from the very beginning, from the 18th century, and we see this development onward. Specifically in the 19th century, we see a huge presence in world exhibitions, these international fairs that happened around the globe. And this name was routinely making headlines and receiving huge accolades. And the celebrity of this brand was such that these shows basically were an early form of advertising, and this spread from mouth to mouth. And this is how this brand was surviving, and it had a huge reputation because of these exhibition wins. And they count no less than 11 top tier wins during the 19th century. And that's only about a 50-year period. And there are many more underneath that, including lower tier silver, bronze, etc. wins. So this also is a group of watchmakers that have between them over 50 patents, horological patents, and so this is reveals a lot of ownership or propriety of watch technology that they were behind. So we see no little achievement here, but there are very interesting side notes in this history, and we find various different watchmakers involved with American presidents. One actually had basically a connection with 4 American presidents. So, and he played a very unique role as a scientific advisor to the U.S. government when it was a very fledgling, these institutions, the Department of War, etc. There were various scientific experiments that he was involved in. Others we find basically in groundbreaking situations, and the exodus of these makers around the world. Indeed, the wins at the exhibitions was a key in this motor, which drove sales of watches all over North and South America. Obviously, in Europe, they were very well known. They put in place a system of measurement for watch and clock springs, which is still in use today. However, it is one of 5 major European measuring systems, but this is based on the French ligne, or inch, measurement system, which is totally different than the system that was used in the U.S. So basically, we have a high concentration of these very interesting makers that were in key places at key times. And so I really think that this book, and I have basically reduced a 700-page master work that I have into just under 125 pages. But this book will give an overview of this entire dynasty. And it is really interesting because this has been forgotten. And indeed, the exhibition, and I will be demonstrating this exhibition in future videos. I will be outlining the development of the entire process of this. And we actually formed an association, a horological society in the process of this, but also the exhibition, which is of nearly 100 objects, including documents, original documents. So a lot of really big things happening, and I just wanted to share this because this is something that I think is going to open up a lot of eyes in the horological world, because the brand, and a lot of people understand that this has a huge name, and when these objects come up for sale at auction, because of the name, they're fetching really high prices. So this is associated with quality, etc. But if there is anyone who would also like a copy of my book, this was published in a limited amount, a limited quantity. However, if you just put in the comments, need copy or something of this variety, then we can contact each other and I can reserve a copy for you. Now, this book has actually been printed in Finland, and 6 copies have already been submitted directly to the National Archives. But there is also, this is an English language version, and there at present there is a French language version that is being hashed out. So it is under work, and there will be at least 2 language versions at this point, it seems. But I really wanted to show this. This is a milestone in this research, and now we have a unified theory behind these makers, which has been lacking up until this time. And indeed, the brand has been very poorly appreciated and understood, and their cohesive quality. Really, this has left a lot of auction houses, antiques experts, and other area specialists just scratching their heads, wondering who was behind a various object and what is the provenance of this, and the whole dating and the sequence, etc. So this is really big. I wanted to share this with you, and I really hope that it hits home, and that if you have any questions or feedback, I would really appreciate hearing from you. But anyways, this is something I really wanted to share with you. We have an exhibition opening at the very beginning of next week in a few days, and this is really a gift to those interested in watch history and rediscovery of this ancient brand, which was really a motor of a Swiss horological invention, evolution, and development. So thank you for your interest, your support. I really hope that we get some new followers to the channel, because we will be documenting a lot of very interesting things in the future, including this whole exhibition, which is being organized. So this is the first large exhibition in at least 130 years of these makers' watches. So, and it is a holistic approach. And so essentially, this has never been shown in a single venue with this wide depth of explanation and this whole overall bird's eye view of these this dynasty. So once again, thank you for your feedback, your comments, and if you want a copy of this book, there are very few available at this point, but if you would like a copy, then please reach out, and there are a few copies available. So thank you, and I wish you a very nice weekend. Adieu.